practitioner and trained chef. Today I'm going to be making a tempeh tomato lettuce with avocado sandwich. Let's cook. All right, so this recipe, we're going to start with our bread, which just for time purposes, I've already toasted here. So I'm choosing to use, important thing to use 100% whole grain. So chose to use some sprouted Ezekiel bread, but it doesn't have to be this. It should just say 100% whole grain. Who's heard of tempeh? So we're going to be using tempeh today. I brought two just to show one that's marinated. We're going to do our own marinated version, but you can also buy it marinated. So tempeh is a fermented soybean cake. All right, it's in its whole form. It's super healthy. It's something that, you know, if you're not familiar with it, it can be a little intimidating to cook. I'm going to show you today that it's super simple. So we're going to start with our tempeh. So when you get tempeh, one of the biggest things, it's already in a package. So since it's fermented, it is possible that, you know, I just have the plain original. It is possible that when you first take it out of the package, and this is going to be, I'm going to have a scrap bowl and my veggie bowl here. So, but it's in another package. It's very normal to kind of see that it may have a few little like black spots or even some, you know, kind of, it almost looks like a mold. That's not harmful. It's just part of the bacteria that's on there that's helping it actually ferment and gives it its good benefits. So I just take this out of the case, put my recycle here. I have my skillet warming up. Something with tempeh too, it can be a little bit, it can have some sort of a bitter taste to it, which you can get out. I'm going to show you a quick way. Generally, people steam it and then marinate. I'm just going to show you a quick way for you to marinate, steam all of it. So we have our skillet here. It's kind of already getting, you know, nice and warm. Generally, for our purposes, when you marinate it, I usually let it sit anywhere from 15 minutes to overnight. But this is about an 8-ounce piece of tempeh. I'm just going to cut it in 1/2-inch blocks. Really important thing that I didn't say, my cutting board, we always want to use knife safety. So I'm not sure if you guys can see, but under here I have a nice wet paper towel. So, and that'll just kind of keep everything from slipping. Knife skills are super huge and important. You'll kind of see me throughout, but I just get a nice grip, kind of use my thumb and pointer finger. This is like my favorite knife. So it's nice and sharp. I've already sharpened it, and then I kind of use like a claw finger. So I'm just going to take my tempeh, and like I said, you can cut it lengthwise or stripwise. Just for the sake of our pan today, I'm just going to cut it here. So try to get the strips nice and even. Our marinade, we can make our own. We don't have to buy our own marinade. So what I have here, and the recipe is going to be attached, but I have 2 tablespoons of coconut amino. It's, you know, something that I use to just kind of get it a nice marinade that won't, you know, that adds extra flavor. It has some salt in here, apple cider vinegar, healthy. Use a little bit. I have my marinade already mixed up for you guys, but some Pink Himalayan Sea salt. I have some black pepper, smoked paprika, since we're, you know, kind of doing a take on our, you know, tempeh, making it smoky and sweet, kind of replacing our bacon. Then I'm doing more of a, you can use a smoked paprika. So also have a little bit of sumac here. Sumac has a little bit of a tart kind of, it's almost like a mild sweet taste, but it's something that's pretty fun. We're just going to mix that up, give it a nice little blend. And while that's going over here, just to help steam the tempeh process, I actually poured some veggie stock into our skillet. And we're just going to give this a quick little stir, okay? So generally it's important, if you want the marinade to really sit in there, you want to give it time to kind of soak up the flavor, all right? You can kind of give that a little whirl. Something fun that I do is give a little shake. However, you have to be careful. I've learned with the shaking process because you can break up your tempeh. So usually I just kind of get that all nice and marinated. You can kind of smell the smoked paprika, and it's kind of giving me a little, sweet yet smoky. Another addition you could add, if you're like, this is still, I've steamed it, I've marinated, I'm kind of done what you said, I need it to be a little bit sweeter, you could always use a little bit of 100% pure maple syrup. When I say small amount, I mean very small amount. So it's literally like I have a half of a teaspoon here, guys. So I'm fine without it, but it's just an option that I just want to talk about. I also want to mention, while this is going to, don't let the smoked paprika and sumac or any, the salt or any of the other ingredients here. You can make substitutions, right? It doesn't have to be smoked pepper. It can be regular pepper. It can be Spanish pepper. Sumac, I use, if I don't have it at home, and I see a recipe, I'm not going out and buying it. Or just use coriander, or use what you have at home. The beauty about tempeh, you can really make it, your own. I have lots of other recipes too. So, all right, this is getting nice and hot, guys. For our time purposes, we let it marinate for 15 minutes, and then we just add it in. So. Putting in the vegetable stock with the tempeh actually helps steam it, in addition to kind of get out some of that bitterness, which is what they, is recommended. And you're just cooking the outside. One of the things we're doing too, so you have the option. You can use oil or you cannot use oil. Generally, oil is something that's more calorically dense versus nutrient dense. So you're not, when utilizing a vegetable broth, so you can make your own. If you're buying it, buy low sodium. It's important to not add extra salt in the mix, which can, raise blood pressure. Everything. Let's get this in here. Okay. You guys can't hear it sizzling over there. One of the big things too, we don't want to use a lot of cooking processes with items on high heat. So give this a little cook here, and then as that's going, usually since it's going on about, I would say maybe like 2 to 3 minutes per side, I just kind of let this, sizzle a little bit, and then I just flip these over. The good thing is, since you're cooking with broth, a lot of the marinade will stay on there. While that's cooking, we can kind of get everything else going, okay? So we already toasted our bread, so our bread's right here. See our roasted pepper hummus video for a great spread that we're gonna do that we can add to it. Once again, with my knife, guys, have my hand, have my claw finger, because that's just cooking away over there. All right. And I just kind of, when I cut my pepper, just kind of going down. And for this, I kind of really just want some fun strips. So I'm just going to set these aside. For our purposes, since we're only making one sandwich, we're not going to actually cut the whole pepper. And then here's my little bowl. I usually keep a bowl of my extra veggies that I'm going to use. These parts, we're going to put some over there. And then my finger. And generally, I'm just going to cut these in a few little strips. So hold my knife and just doing a nice gentle rocking motion. Our tempeh is looking good over here. So our tomato, so I washed all these vegetables ahead of time, guys. So make sure you're washing your veggies. And for the tomato, I kind of just go right down the middle. Once again, my little scraps over here. And they're generally I use too. Sometimes I have a tomato core, which you can, pull out, or you can just, if you're like, I don't have that, Pamela, we can just switch over and use the other side and just go right down the center. All right, have some nice looking tomato pieces here. And we're just going to pull over there. And then our cucumber, making sure we're keeping our cutting board nice and clean. I never peel my cucumber. I usually like the fiber of the peel. This, I try to get the ones that are organic, but, if you're like, this too. You can just, maybe gently cut the bottom off, put our scraps over there. I kind of hold it up, have my claw finger, and just kind of, just to make it look a little bit more pretty. I'm always open to any questions too. I know this is not a live recording, but if you all have any questions about the video, my link below will be listed for you all to reach out to. So our tempeh, your tempeh should have a nice kind of smoky color to it. For these purposes, I've let it cool. It got a little bit broken in some of the process. So just be very careful with cooking and, but it's just for eating. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't be intimidated. Lettuce. So I chose to use some red leaf lettuce. Green leafy vegetables are huge. Pretty much this is great for nutrient value. You can eat as much of this as you want and it's not really going to have any health consequences. So, all right. So I pretty much just washed this off. And then I'm just going to stack that really nice and pretty there. I love lettuce, so try to use all of it. Sometimes I take off the rougher core that we have for our tempeh here. And just for our purposes, we're just going to stack this up. Just like that. I kind of usually try to aim for about 4 ounces because I'm making a mess here. 4 ounces per sandwich. Like I said, our little broken pieces, which will just be my snack for later, guys. Put on my scraps over here. And then we'll top it off with our avocado. So avocado, so just have your claw finger. And then kind of go down that sort of thing. Kind of just do a little twist. I'm only using half of this, so I'll show you how to remove the pit later. Just for the purposes, sometimes I like hold and score and we'll scoop out, but I know that can be a little bit intimidating. So I kind of just use my little spatula here. That way you're not worried about, is the knife going through? Do I have to cut myself? And you can still have some nice, avocado slices. Keep in mind, avocado is it's nutrients, but it's also fat. So you really want to kind of go really light on the avocado, especially if you're, just kind of, we want our good fat. And here's our sandwich, guys. We have a nice little lunch. We can just top that off. I'll do a quick little cut. And we have our TLT. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. You'll see the next video. Roasted red pepper hummus.